Welcome to Silver Vitality Vault, your primary sanctuary for the latest, most rigorous scientific breakthroughs designed to protect your independence and mental sharpness as you navigate your golden years. I want you to stop whatever you are doing right now and listen closely, because you might be unintentionally destroying your brain at this very second without having the slightest clue. My intention isn't to provoke unnecessary fear, but to present a biological reality, something you do every single day, perhaps multiple times before the sun even sets, is literally shrinking your brain tissue faster than the natural process of aging ever could. Neurologists at UCLA have recently published a study that should make every senior in the world pay attention. They discovered that individuals who engage in one specific, common daily habit have brains that appear 10 years older on clinical brain scans. We aren't talking about a minor 5-year discrepancy. We are talking about an entire decade of lost cognitive youth. The most terrifying aspect of this discovery is that over 70% of seniors perform this habit daily, under the dangerous assumption that it is completely benign, or in some cases even beneficial for their health. By the time you reach the conclusion of this presentation here at Silver Vitality Vault, you will possess the knowledge to identify exactly what is accelerating dementia in our population. We are presenting data so shocking that it made the lead researchers perform double takes at their own findings. But before we deconstruct all 7 of these brain-destroying habits, let me highlight the number 1 entry on our list. It is a behavior so pervasive that when a group of Japanese researchers tracked 20,000 people over a 15-year period, they found that those who maintained this habit had a 68% higher probability of developing dementia. A 68% increase is not a statistical anomaly or a typo. It is a clear medical mandate for change. Yet, most general practitioners fail to warn their patients about it because it seems so socially innocent. Before we dive into these 7 habits, I have a request for our community. Please go to the comments right now and tell us your current age and exactly where you are watching us from. At Silver Vitality Vault, we believe in the power of connection, and we read and reply to every single comment left by our viewers. Now, without further delay, let us begin our countdown of the 7 daily habits you must break today to save your mind tomorrow. Number 7. The habit of skipping your morning walk. We begin at number 7 with a habit that might seem minor on the surface, but packs a catastrophic punch against your long-term cognitive integrity. The decision to skip your daily physical activity, particularly that essential morning walk. When you choose to remain sedentary in those early hours, you are essentially sending a biological signal to your brain to begin the shutting down process prematurely. A comprehensive study from the University of British Columbia monitored 6,000 adults over the age of 65 for 8 years. The results were nothing short of a wake-up call for the medical community. Individuals who walked fewer than 4,000 steps per day possessed hippocampus volumes that were 23% smaller than those of active walkers. To put that into perspective, the hippocampus is your brain's command center for memory. When this region shrinks, the symptoms are progressive. First, you forget where you placed your car keys. Then you begin to struggle with names. Eventually, you lose the ability to recognize the faces of those you love most. However, the most encouraging part of the research is that you do not need to be a marathon runner to save your brain. The magic of neuroprotection happens with just 30 minutes of moderate, consistent walking every day. When you engage in this rhythmic movement, your heart pumps oxygen-saturated blood directly into the neural tissues. This triggers the production of a protein called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. At Silver Vitality Vault, we like to call BDNF Miracle Grow for your brain cells. Without it, your neurons begin to wither and die off faster than your body can regenerate them. The absolute best time for this walk is within the first 2 hours after you wake up. Morning sunlight hitting your retinas does more than just help you see. It sets your circadian rhythm. This internal clock is what allows your brain to engage its glymphatic system at night, a process where the brain literally washes itself clean of toxic waste products. These wastes, known as beta-amyloid plaques, are the primary markers found in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. A Stanford study revealed that those who walked in the morning had 40% less amyloid buildup compared to those who exercised in the late afternoon. To maximize your results, walk at a conversational pace, one where you could talk if you had to, but you'd rather focus on your breathing. This specific intensity increases blood flow to your prefrontal cortex by 35%. If you want to take it to the next level, try walking backward for 30 seconds every 5 minutes in a safe environment. This simple trick forces the brain to activate different neural regions and improves your balance, which is a key predictor of cognitive longevity. Even if you have joint issues, moving in a warm pool provides a 20% increase in brain benefits due to the constant resistance of the water. Number 6, the regular use of pharmaceutical sleep aids. Number 6 on our list is a habit that will likely shock you, primarily because it is something your own doctor might have recommended as a solution for your insomnia: the regular intake of pharmaceutical sleep medications. Those little pills that promise a night of peaceful rest might actually be fast-tracking you toward a diagnosis of permanent memory loss. A Harvard University study that tracked 10,000 seniors for 7 years sent a shockwave through the geriatric medical community. They found that people who utilized sleep medications like Ambien, Lunesta, or even common over-the-counter aids containing diphenhydramine for more than 3 months faced a 50% higher risk of developing dementia. If those individuals continued the use for 3 years or longer, that risk skyrocketed to nearly 80%. At Silver Vitality Vault, we want you to understand a fundamental medical truth. Sleep medications do not provide you with real sleep. They provide you with sedation. There is a massive biochemical difference between being unconscious and being in a state of restorative sleep. Real sleep involves specific architecture, stages where your brain cells actually shrink in size by 60% to allow cerebrospinal fluid to flush out the trash of the day. When you use sedatives, you suppress these vital cleaning cycles. It is the equivalent of never taking the garbage out of your home. Eventually, the environment becomes toxic and unlivable. Dr. Matthew Walker from UC Berkeley has shown that users of sleep aids have 45% less slow-wave sleep, the specific stage where your brain consolidates new memories. They also suffer from 70% less REM sleep, which is essential for emotional regulation and creative thinking. Instead of relying on these cognitive killers, we recommend the military sleep method combined with specific nutritional triggers. First, ensure your bedroom is cooled to 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Your brain must drop its internal temperature by 2 degrees to initiate the sleep sequence. Second, try consuming 2 kiwis 1 hour before bed. Research from Taipei Medical University found that this simple fruit can increase sleep duration by 13% and quality by 42%, due to its natural serotonin and antioxidant content. If kiwis aren't to your liking, a handful of pistachios or a glass of tart cherry juice are excellent natural sources of melatonin. Number 5, watching more than 4 hours of television daily. At number 5, we address a habit that 75% of seniors engage in every day, often believing they are simply staying informed or socially connected: the excessive consumption of television. Your TV might be eroding your brain tissue faster than any neurological disease. The University of London conducted a 6-year study on 3,500 adults over age 50, tracking their viewing habits alongside their cognitive performance. The data was sobering. Those who watched more than 4 hours of TV daily suffered an 8% decline in verbal memory. For those who watched more than 7 hours, the brain changes observed on scans were nearly identical to the early stages of Alzheimer's disease. Television puts the senior brain into a passive state that is actually lower in activity than deep sleep. When you watch TV, your brain waves slow to a point of near coma levels of inactivity. This is what researchers call cognitive sedentary behavior, and it is often more dangerous than physical inactivity because it offers zero stimulation. The content you choose matters immensely. News programs, unfortunately, are the worst offenders for the aging mind. A study of 14,000 people found that watching just 14 minutes of negative news increased anxiety markers by 67% and cortisol, the stress hormone, by 43%. Chronic elevation of cortisol is a known neuron killer in the hippocampus. At Silver Vitality Vault, we recommend replacing passive watching with interactive learning. If you love stories, listen to audiobooks while your hands are busy with a hobby. Surprisingly, video games are far superior to TV because they require strategic thinking. Studies show they can increase gray matter volume by 12% in 6 months. Number 4. Starting your day with processed breakfast foods. Number 4 on our list is something you likely this very morning without a second thought: eating processed breakfast foods. That seemingly innocent bowl of sugary cereal or white toast with jam is effectively poisoning your brain's metabolism every morning. The Rush University Medical Center monitored 5,000 adults for 5 years and found that those who prioritized processed breakfast foods suffered a 28% faster rate of cognitive decline. When the researchers looked specifically at sugary pastries and cereals, that number jumped to 44%. When you consume refined sugars and flours, your blood glucose spikes by as much as 200% within 30 minutes. This floods your system with insulin, which in turn triggers a wave of systemic inflammation. This inflammation is what eventually damages the blood-brain barrier, the high-security shield that is supposed to keep toxins and heavy metals out of your delicate brain tissue. Dr. Suzanne Delamont from Brown University has even termed Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because of this direct link between sugar processing and brain degeneration. The average American breakfast contains 47 grams of added sugar, nearly double the danger zone for brain health. At Silver Vitality Vault, we advocate for a brain-protecting breakfast formula that takes less than 5 minutes. 1. Omega-3 fats. Scramble 2 eggs in coconut oil. Eggs provide choline, a precursor to the memory neurotransmitter acetylcholine. 2. Antioxidants. Add a cup of wild blueberries. These contain anthocyanins that can actually cross the blood-brain barrier to protect your neurons directly. 3. Inflammation fighters. Sprinkle your eggs with turmeric and black pepper. The curcumin in turmeric can reduce brain inflammation by 48% when activated by the piperine in pepper. Number 3. The silent danger of chronic mouth breathing. At number 3, we have a habit you are probably doing right now without even realizing it: breathing through your mouth. Mouth breathing is a silent destroyer of the senior brain, yet most people are never taught the importance of nasal breathing for cognitive function. Researchers in Japan studied the brain scans of chronic mouth breathers versus nose breathers and found that mouth breathers had 20% less gray matter in their prefrontal cortex and 30% reduced activity in their hippocampus. When you breathe through your mouth, you bypass the nasal filtration and humidification system. More importantly, you miss out on nitric oxide, a molecule produced in the sinuses that increases oxygen absorption in the lungs by 18%. Without this extra oxygen, your brain is essentially being slow suffocated one breath at a time. Mouth breathing also ruins the quality of your sleep. Stanford researchers found that mouth breathers get 60% less REM sleep. Furthermore, mouth breathing dries out the oral cavity, allowing harmful bacteria to multiply. These bacteria produce inflammatory compounds that can travel through your bloodstream directly to your brain. To retrain yourself, practice tongue posture. Your tongue should always rest against the roof of your mouth, with the tip just behind your front teeth. This position naturally encourages the mouth to stay closed and the nasal passages to stay open. Before you go to sleep, you might even consider using a small piece of medical-grade paper tape vertically over your lips to ensure you nose breathe throughout the night. Number 2. Cooking with inflammatory vegetable and seed oils. The second worst habit for your brain involves the oils in your kitchen pantry. Those vegetable oils you've been told are heart-healthy are actually deep frying your brain cells from the inside out. When researchers at Temple University fed mice canola oil for 6 months, their brains showed damage identical to Alzheimer's disease. When you heat oils like corn, soybean, or sunflower oil, they produce toxic compounds called aldehydes. These are 200 times more toxic than cigarette smoke and easily penetrate the blood-brain barrier to trigger massive inflammation. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats in the body is 1:1. However, the average senior consuming these oils has a ratio of 20:1. This massive imbalance is a primary driver of chronic brain shrinkage. At Silver Vitality Vault, we recommend replacing these rancid poisons with extra virgin olive oil for cold uses and coconut oil or grass-fed butter for high-heat cooking. Coconut oil contains MCTs, medium-chain triglycerides, that convert into ketones, a fuel source that your brain can use even if its ability to process glucose has been damaged by dementia. Number 1. The devastation of social isolation and loneliness. We have reached the absolute number 1 brain destroyer, the silent demon that is currently destroying senior minds faster than all other factors combined: social isolation and loneliness. The University of Florida conducted a 10-year study on 12,000 seniors and found that those who reported feeling lonely had a 105% increased risk of developing dementia. This isn't a small 5% increase. Your risk literally more than doubles. Loneliness triggers a survival threat in the brain, causing the amygdala, your fear center, to become hyperactive. This floods your brain with cortisol 24/7, killing neurons in the hippocampus 50% faster than the natural aging rate. But the most important thing to understand at Silver Vitality Vault is that this isn't about how many people you know. It is about meaningful connection. You can be in a crowded room and still be lonely if there is no intellectual or emotional engagement. Meaningful conversation, where you listen and empathize, triggers the production of oxytocin and dopamine, which in turn stimulate BDNF and the growth of new brain cells. University College London found that just 1 month of social isolation caused a 16% drop in processing speed and a 23% decrease in executive function. To combat this, you must seek out regular scheduled interactions. Join a book club, a walking group, or a volunteer organization. If you have mobility issues, use video calls. They are 30% more stimulating than phone calls because seeing a face activates mirror neurons in your brain. Even adopting a pet can reduce your dementia risk by 24% by providing consistent companionship and routine, your brain's remarkable capacity to heal. As we conclude this investigation here at Silver Vitality Vault, I want to leave you with a message of profound hope. While these 7 habits are the fastest routes to cognitive decline, every single one of them is reversible. Your brain possesses an incredible quality known as neuroplasticity, which means it is capable of healing, forming new connections, and even growing new tissue at any age, whether you are 60, 80, or 100. The power to change your cognitive future is quite literally in your hands. You don't have to wait for symptoms to appear. By then, the damage is already significant. Start today by making just one small change. Perhaps tomorrow morning you take that walk, or you swap your processed cereal for a couple of eggs and some blueberries. Every healthy choice you make is a deposit into your cognitive reserve, a safety net that protects you from the plaques and tangles of dementia. We want to hear from you, the Silver Vitality Vault family. Which of these 7 habits surprised you the most? And which one are you committed to changing first? Have you already noticed a difference in your memory after adjusting your lifestyle? Please share your stories and your wisdom in the comments below. Your journey might be the inspiration someone else needs to save their own mind. If you found this video valuable, please hit the like button so the algorithm can share this life-saving information with more seniors. And don't forget to subscribe to Silver Vitality Vault for more research-backed tips on how to live your strongest, sharpest, and most vital life. Thank you for trusting us with your health. Stay sharp, stay connected, and we will see you in the next video.